and the fallout continues following the resignation of National Security Advisor retired General Michael Flynn.
Senators on both sides of the aisle would like to see an independent investigation conducted into General Flynn's dealings with the Russian ambassador before President Trump was inaugurated.
I expect the Attorney General will recuse himself and allow an independent and thorough investigation to go forward. And, Mr. President, we have an additional reason to seek an independent and transparent investigation because of how the White House treated this matter over the past few weeks. The White House knew for weeks that General Flynn misled the Vice President and let General Flynn stay on the job.
We have a job to do here, and our job that we're going to do here is we conduct oversight over the intelligence community, over our counterintelligence programs. We're going to conduct that. That investigation's begun. It's bipartisan. Everyone's bought into it on the committee, and so I think that's an important work that we're about to undertake.
Meanwhile, the House Intelligence Committee won't open an investigation into Flynn, but will investigate who leaked the story that led to his resignation. The investigation into General Flynn is ongoing, obviously.
Well, what does a possible independent investigation mean for former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and the Trump administration?
Here to talk about what we could possibly expect to happen next is KUSI contributor and AM 1170 radio host Mark Larson.
Other than that, nothing going on today.
What a big mess.
And an added attraction today was the tantrum from some of the mainstream media at the news conference. Maybe Netanyahu was there, and some of the regular mainstreamers didn't get questions.
The AP and
so they didn't like that. I've been talking to a lot of my contacts in Washington today, and I hear things like Washington is a mess. This whole part of what's going on with Flynn right now. The latter part of your story there about the investigation into leaks, that's where there may be some real crimes. And that's the smoking gun here that all the other noise is meant to cover up.
So are those leaks coming from the previous administration, people that are still in place? That's what's happening?
Yeah, this is the real swamp. See, this idea that the swamp that Trump was talking about cleaning up, this idea that, well, maybe it's just cabinet members. No, it's a lot deeper than that, and it's wider than that. It's in the bureaucracy of the various departments, State Department, Defense Department, you go down the list. It's there in the Labor Department, pick a department. There's like 9 bureaucrats per 1 farmer in the Department of Agriculture. I mean, there's just a lot of people who've been entrenched for a long time, and we've been paying for them as taxpayers. So in the middle of this, part of the strategy has been toss up something new every day. Change the news cycle every day, and this is what we're hearing back there. Also, an increased buzz today is about Republicans. You mentioned as many as 12 on the Andy Puzder story. Already, Republicans showing that they are still doing that. Some of them haven't learned what others had to learn in the election. That you got to stay together. They're showing signs of weakness, and that's why you see someone like Puzder, who I happen to know for a long time, drop out. And in that, the other thing they're talking about is the video. There's a video of his ex-wife talking about him on the Oprah show from 1990, which had nothing to do with anything, especially because she said that was to get a better divorce settlement, and she was out trying to support him.
Right.
Then they grab onto the housekeeper issue, which torpedoed Meg Whitman's chances a few years ago.
It's torpedoed a lot of people's
chances. And the people, but here's the thing. Here's what I'm hearing from back there. They're saying these are the same people criticizing it who think sanctuary cities and sanctuary states are fine. So there's so much going on here. And Flynn, that Logan Act that they're trying to get him, that goes back to the John Adams
and has never been used.
Never been used. Nobody's ever been prosecuted or convicted.
Here's the thing that puzzles me is that, okay, the Democrats have been successful in moving Flynn aside and forcing him to step down and move out of the
pressure. Put Puzder out.
Right, and Puzder as well.
Yeah, so
and they're already trying to seemingly connect the dots to President Trump. That's where they're going with this thing, it sounds like. And they're using the quote from the Nixon era, what did he know and when did he know it? I mean, so...
Well, they think it's Watergate all over again. There is the big question again of who leaked what. There's also the story that a lot of people haven't talked about, that President Obama on the way out happened to relax the rules for the National Security Agency. That allowed them to use more of these eavesdropped conversations in different manners. That was not accidental. You look at sheer politics and everybody's smiling. That's what they're talking about in Washington today as well, because that has made this easier for people to leak that and maybe violate some laws when they do that. So the bottom line on it is you've got some good people who have served the nation well, who are now getting torpedoed, and it's a daily kind of a thing. So it's ugly. It's getting uglier. It was good to see Bibi Netanyahu smiling today because he hasn't done that over the last 8 years.
Right.
But, you know, President Obama slipped $221 million, according to AP, to the Palestinian Authority on his way out before leaving the White House. So there's all kinds of players here, and they're trying to make it all appear about Trump. But right now, I think the biggest level of concern in Washington is how some Republicans, and all it takes is a few senators to go, oh, we're a little nervous and we're feeling a little bit. We haven't even been into a month yet since the inauguration, and every day. But the constant I heard today was, it's a mess, and the swamp is deeper than they think.
Yeah.
So,
Would you disagree with that?
no, but when you try to drain the swamp, which gets into some of these bureaucrats who have their own agendas, one of the reasons a lot of the people inside the NSA didn't want Flynn is because Flynn not only had been very specific about Islamic jihadism and calling it what it is, but he was not a fan of the Iran agreement to supposedly keep them from the nukes, and there was a concern within the agencies that he would, in that position, start to leak, or not leak so much, bring it out so that the public could see, or at least more could see in Washington, what the real story was. And the previous administration doesn't want that a bit. So you start connecting those dots, you find out other motivations.
Right. We're out of time, but it seems like this president should be allowed to do what every other president has done, and that's get his people in place, not just at the top level, but in the lower cabinet positions. And those lower positions, and it seems that those lower positions are the ones that are, you know, leaking the information.
And we'll wake up tomorrow, we'll see more of this, then pushing to tell Sessions to step aside. I mean, this is the same group of people who thought it was fine that the previous Attorney General could meet on an airplane with Bill Clinton while they're investigating Hillary Clinton, and that was fine. So the double standards are really something to behold. But fasten your seatbelt. It's
We'll
just
see
starting.
where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark.